All right. This is episode 11, the penultimate episode, since the finale is a two-parter, of Legend of Korra, Season 4. The episode title is Kuvira's Gambit. Well, giant mecha. Okay, we already had Gundams run around. I guess it was about time somebody pulled out Gigantor or whatever. It's a pretty cool design. And I think for once, the slightly off CG that's been plaguing this season actually works really well for it. It partially because it moves very slowly, so it's a little bit less jarring, and partially because it just makes it seem so alien and wrong. And that's a really good look for it. Because, this is a fantasy series, and you've got this very steampunk mecha running around in it. Not even steampunk, it's crossing over into diesel punk. I also really like that Kuvira controls it with metal banding. That's a neat touch. So, yeah. This episode did not go where I was expecting it to go. Kuvira's already here. Ahead of schedule. That was a neat trick, actually, because the 2-week time frame giving us until the finale, and then, wait, no, oops, it's happening a week before the finale. It kind of tricked the audience as well. Very cool. Let's see, what happens in this episode? Julie demands to be treated as an equal. That was awesome. That was everything I have ever hoped for from Julie, and clearly it has kind of flummoxed Varric, which is a nice state for him to be in. I'm looking forward to see what they do with that next episode. So that's cool. Kai had a cameo again. He kind of vanished for a while there. And you know who else vanished? Didn't Tenzin and Pema have another kid? Like, wasn't she pregnant in the first season and had a baby? And now, should that baby not be like 4 or 5 years old? It's just weird that it's never been mentioned. I don't even remember what its name is. I don't know. It's very strange. All this talk about the land being stolen from the Earth Empire is actually really interesting to me because I've read the comics about the founding of the United Republic, The Promise. And is it The Promise? Can't be. Might be. Anyway, it's a really good comic. And one of the interesting things that's going on is the reason they founded it in the first place. Which, I guess this is spoilers for the comic, so if you don't want them, mute it and then unmute it when I go. That'll be the signal that spoilers are over, okay? So spoilers for comics starting now. Basically, what happened was there's this chain of colonies in the area that becomes the United Republic that the Fire Nation had established when they first invaded almost 100 years ago. And over time, those colonies had become increasingly integrated. The Fire Nation and Earth Kingdom people had intermarried, they had friendships, they had business relationships, they had, family. And so, when the obvious simple solution of everybody Fire Nation leave the Earth Kingdom was floated, well, the problem was that here were people who were born in the Earth Kingdom, but were ethnically Fire Nation. Here were people who had an Earth Kingdom spouse or an Earth Kingdom parent, but were fully or part Fire Nation. And the result was the formation of a rebellion against, and it almost brought about another war between the Earth Kingdom and the Fire Nation. And the solution they reached was that these colonies would become the independent United Republic. as a place where benders of all nations could mingle. Now, of course, that's an imperfect solution. It leaves out the non-benders, which actually then ties into the first season of Korra. And it ties into this theme that they've been developing this season of there's always a new problem. There's always a new villain to fight. Oh, by the way, spoilers over. Sorry about that. What I was saying was that the end of the comic ties in to this ongoing theme of there's always something new to fight. There's always a new problem to solve. And the old solutions create new problems that we then have to create new solutions, which eventually become old solutions, which become new problems. And it goes on forever, which, as I said a couple videos ago, good, because what would be the point of existing if there was nothing to improve? I like that progress is an infinitely long sequence instead of something with an endpoint. So, anyway, Kuvira's blowing stuff up good. I'm not 100% clear on what those ships she blew up were. Those didn't look like military ships. Were those was she murdering evacuees? Because, if so, there was insufficient reaction from the other people, because holy crap, is that a spectacular war crime to murder civilians that are running away. You don't do that. I don't know of any culture where murdering, fleeing, unarmed people is considered A-okay. Maybe the Mongols, but I can never remember which things about the Mongols are actually true and which things are made up by their enemies. So, probably not. Anyway, it's a really rare thing. That would be considered at all permissible. Like, holy crap. They should be wetting their pants if that's what she did. I mean, even more than they are. If those were military ships, okay. That's a legitimate target. In that case, it's just, damn, that's a big cannon. I like that they're basically just totally helpless against this mech. I mean, obviously, some of them are going to survive. Probably all of them are going to survive. I don't think any characters we care about are dead in that blast at the end there. Possibly Batar Jr., but I don't think so. I think he's going to live long enough to tell them how to take down the mech, because now he has no reason not to, because Kuvira's betrayed him. Which I actually really liked. Like, again, subtle body language in the animation. I really liked Kuvira's expressions in that scene where she decides to shoot him. I like how, even as she's saying it, we know she's lying when she says that she, is going to stand down. She's telling the truth when she says she loves him. She just doesn't love him enough to turn from her path. Which, to be fair, is legitimate when you have to choose between your spouse or spouse-to-be and your job. It doesn't make you a bad person to choose your job. What makes her a bad person is that her job is conquering a brutal, tyrannical empire. But it's nice seeing that moment of real emotion. I think that's going to spell bad things for Korra in the finale, because I think that's really the first time we've seen someone hurt Kuvira. I think it's personal now. I think she's going to be angry and she's going to be gunning for Korra. Possible that might be exploitable. Let me see what else happened in this episode. We get like a couple lines from Iroh. That was cute. Iroh the Lesser, not the Iroh. Kai had no lines. They probably didn't want to bring his voice actor back just for one episode. I don't know. Again, it was an episode that was mostly action sequences, which makes it a little difficult to talk about. There were really good action sequences. It was a great episode. There were several points where I was like, wow, I was not expecting that. Like, the mech. It's a clever way to eliminate the need for the rails. I don't know what's going to happen with that. I can see a lot of possibilities. I can see something to do with the spirits. Disabling that cannon somehow. They refuse to get involved in the war, but they don't want that spirit energy being abused anymore. That sort of a thing. Otherwise, while it's nice having the spirits tell Korra off and be like, we don't want to get involved in your war, it feels like it ended a beat, that storyline ended a beat too soon. It feels like there should be at least one more thing that happens there. I definitely liked, the action sequences. I got a kick out of Stealth Airbender Team. That was pretty cool. If you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. Airbenders make scary special ops. They make scary assassins. Not quite as scary as Bloodbenders, but pretty scary. Bloodbenders would be the most terrifying assassins ever. They could just bend the blood out of your brain and you would die and no one would notice until you were dead. Sweet dreams! Yeah, but it's pretty much just cool looking action sequences and mecha. Giant freaking mecha. With a big gun. I mean, it's cool seeing it in something that has this fluid animation, because outside of like Rebuild of Evangelion or something like that, you're not going to see that much, because anime just tends not to have as fluid animation as the higher end American shows. Obviously, I named one already. There are exceptions. Yeah, I guess I just don't have a lot on this one. So, I guess just move on to the finale. For the finale, I'm going to do something a little bit different. I'm going to try and experiment. I am going to watch it live. And we'll see how that works out. If it works out well, I might do that more often. I'm not going to do it all the time. I like doing these little more thinky afterwards pieces than just reactions. But I figured a live reaction to some big event episode like this, like the last episode of Avatar the Whatever Ever, that's a live reaction to that could be fun. So I'll figure out some way to tape that. There will probably be a laptop sitting on some kind of surface in front of me. Unless I can figure out how to get it out of camera frame. Otherwise, yeah. See you guys next week.